You're listening to What's Hot on NCCU AudioNet.
It is What's Hot with Shamai Cook. I am Shamai Cook. I got my guest co-host Vanessa Missick in the building. How you doing, Vanessa?
I'm doing well, of course.
I'm well. That's good. That's good. And we got some special guests in the building from the writing and speaking studio here at NCCU. It's Miss Samanda Chasten and Miss Amara Han. Welcome to What's Hot. Thank you guys so much for coming on the show. How you guys doing today?
Listen,
we're good. For having us.
Yes, thank you.
We're doing well. We're doing well.
Doing very well.
No, first of all, I appreciate you guys spending, taking out your time out of your busy schedule for coming on the show, and being with us for a few minutes. I'm gonna start off with Miss Han. What made you want to get into writing?
Oh, geez. Ooh. Well, my mother always told me that I have a story to tell, and I should do what I can to make sure that story gets told. So I've always just had a great appreciation for words and being able to tell, I guess, my side of the story, or just to tell my story in general. I've always enjoyed writing, not always for academic purposes, especially back in the day, but I've always just had a passion for expressing myself. And when I had the opportunity to major in English, I was like, okay, this seems to be my thing.
Gotcha.
And then once I realized that, okay, this is really what I want to continue doing, I got my master's degree in rhetoric and writing.
Okay.
And that led me to right here, to come back to HBCUs and to come back and teach, possibly instill or pass down that passion for writing to my students.
Got any question?
I do have a question, actually. So you work in the writing studio.
Yes.
Okay, I hope this comes off right. What's your favorite type of paper to help students compose?
That is a good one. I love helping students with personal statements.
Okay.
I love it because we get the opportunity to find out more about the student, more about them and their story, but then also help them to shape that story so that they can get the achievement that they want, whether it's to get a scholarship, get into grad school, or whatever. I love being able to help students tell their story in the best possible way. That's a lot of fun to me.
Can you talk about how important storytelling is when you're writing your story?
Oh, yeah. A lot of times we just think, oh, let me just make these 5 paragraphs, an intro, conclusion, and 3 body paragraphs. But there's more to storytelling than just 5 paragraphs. You're more than likely going to need more than 5 paragraphs just to tell who you are and what you're about. And so, storytelling, it's just important to, number one, remember the things that you can.
Okay.
And the things that you can remember, tell us those details. Give us those vivid details. Your ability to tell a story and tell your own story very well it can make or break. It can make or break like an interview or a relationship, a lot of things. So it's really important to be able to express yourself coherently and cohesively in the form of storytelling.
Miss Chase, let me get to you. I don't want because she is here. She's trying to speak.
What's up?
Miss DL, she's my boss. She told me that you went to Norfolk.
I did.
Yes,
I did.
Yes.
As did I.
You did.
I did.
That's good.
Yes, I earned my master's from Norfolk.
Okay.
Yes.
Can you talk about how important public speaking is when it comes to being at an HBCU, articulating yourself verbally?
Yeah. I mean, listen, being able to convey your thoughts orally in an effective manner, an interesting manner, a relatable manner is extremely critical to your performance, right? To your experience. It is through networking where you gain opportunities.
Yes.
When you are exposed to new things, it's where you meet rejection. You can be very solid and sound in black and white on paper. But if you're unable, or let me rephrase, if you if it's challenging for you to communicate with others.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying. Absolutely.
It could cause a barrier of some sort. You have to be able to talk, and a lot of times throughout your collegiate experience, from a classroom perspective, you are asked to present. but it's bigger than that.
Yep.
Right? In many of our majors and many of our disciplines, we are presenting at conferences. We are attending or preparing for career fairs and expos.
Yep.
We are constantly thrusting ourselves in instances where we're meeting and greeting.
Yeah.
Building and opting to maintain connections to prepare us for our next. So when we think about the commonly asked question from an interview standpoint, tell me a little bit about yourself, what does that question even entail?
That's true.
Right? So much so that you leave the one that you're having the chat with wanting more of you.
Yeah.
Right? But if you look at someone and you're giving them your timeline, well, that's not what I asked. I want to know who break it down and be able to do so in a confident manner. That's key.
Yeah.
That's key. So it's essential to our overall personal growth, and especially while attending an HBCU.
Yes. What made you want to get into teaching? Verbal communication, and because I know did you teach a course for what is the course
Elements
called?
of Speech?
Elements of Speech.
I still teach it. Yes.
You still do. Yeah.
Yes.
So can you talk about what made you want to get into that?
Well, yeah. So my fellow Eagles that are used or have been exposed to the Black church. The Black church is where I gained my confidence.
Okay.
Church allowed me exposure.
Okay.
And so through church, I was exposed to oratorical contests. I was winning. I was being recognized. I found my strength. I tried sports. Basketball, although I have height, it didn't connect.
Hey,
all I had to do was put it in, but it was challenging, right? And so I swam. Swimming paid for my undergrad experience.
Okay.
But in that, the church gave me a space to feel strong and confident.
Okay.
And that's where I connected to public speaking. And felt like I can do that.
Yeah.
And so I ran with it.
Oh, go ahead.
I have sort of a follow-up. You said the church gave you confidence. So
Yeah.
prior to that, did you find yourself in a place where you were experiencing like timid or like shyness when it came to public speaking?
It wasn't even that I was, I didn't know it.
Right.
The classrooms during that time, it wasn't a lot of presenting for me. It was more so a lot of writing.
Okay.
But the church gave me a platform to use my voice in a way that wasn't so restricted.
And this is kind of a question for both of us, both of you guys. I'm going to start off with Miss Han. Can you talk about why is writing so important in culture?
In culture, in general.
In Black culture. Why is it so important?
I mean, especially if you want to take it to Black culture, there was once upon a time we didn't have that privilege.
Yeah, right, exactly.
That was not afforded to us.
Yeah.
The ability to read and write and speak our minds the way that we want to. That was something that was once against the law.
Yeah,
which is nuts. So I think that's just one of the many reasons why I think writing is so important to us, to be able to have that ability, to have that skill, to be able to express yourself clearly and effectively. And it's something that it's not lost on our culture. Our people, we are an expressive people.
Yes.
Whether it's through word, whether it's through music, through art, through whatever it is, we are extremely expressive, and so we deserve whatever and however many means to express ourselves that we're allotted. And so again, I came to teach at a HBCU because again, I'm a product of an HBCU. I know exactly what is why it's so important to be able to write clearly and write effectively and write professionally and all of this. And so I want to tell my students, like, hey, it's more than just this, what seems like a chore that you have to do in this class. Like, I teach first year writing, so it's nobody's favorite thing at that point. But I'm the one to let them know that if you can't write well, if you can't express yourself well, then you are, you're facing a world of a lot of, miscommunications, misconceptions, misinterpretations, missed opportunities even. There are so many times that I, honestly, like full transparency mode, I applied for jobs and I wrote cover letters and I didn't proofread that thing. And I didn't get a call back. No, I wonder why, right? But I didn't, pay attention to my words closely enough and didn't really have the mindset, the focused mindset to express myself clearly. I lost out on some opportunities, but ultimately that led me here. That led me right here. So, it is what it is.
Go ahead. Yeah. How is speaking important to culture?
I mean, just that, you are your voice.
Okay.
And so we have one, right? And as my counterpart stated, we've been gifted the privilege to use our voice or to tap into expression, whatever that looks like for you. So we are already battling so many things from day to day.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Just because of the color of our skin, where we come from, who we come from, where we live, all of these things, stereotypes. So we have to be able to talk.
Yeah.
And just as my partner here says, writing effectively, writing clearly and concisely, the same thing applies for speaking.
Gotcha.
It's a necessary skill to polish. It isn't something that you can just work with or practice once or twice, 3, 4 times. It is an ongoing, a continuous cycle of building.
Gotcha.
That is for those who desire to enrich and who want to propel forward.
Gotcha.
We can never be too comfortable.
Never.
You're
correct.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so just as my counterpart just, mentioned about not receiving a call back because of the personal statement or the cover letter, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Same thing with interviewing.
Gotcha.
Right? You turn in all your app materials, then you're asked to come in for the interview, and how you choose or how you opt to communicate is going to what?
Yeah.
Possibly propel you forward or not.
Yeah.
It carries weight.
You have a fair point. That's fair point.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. I just want to say we're still here checking in with Miss Samanda Chasten and Miss Amara Hand of the Writing and Speaking Studio here at NCCU. When it comes to working at HBCU, what are some challenges that student face and that you see student faces when it comes to writing and speaking?
I see a lot of students come in and saying things like, I was told I have to come here because my teacher said I don't know how to write, or my teacher said something a little unsavory, or something a little like unsettling.
Okay.
And that's really heartbreaking. Having attended an HBCU and having been one of y'all once upon a time, in your shoes, like I was told, like, this isn't it, like this isn't good. I've been told that before, and I know that that's not a good feeling. That's not going to really, that doesn't help. Like that tough love, it just doesn't hit the same for everybody all the time. And so I see a lot of students come in saying, I don't know how to write.
Right.
You absolutely know how to write. You made it to this point.
Yeah.
You had to write something
That's very true.
in order to get here.
Yeah.
But that little nagging feeling of doubt because you've been told one thing or another about how you write how you speak, or you have too many issues, you write unprofessionally, all of that that can cause a damper on one's spirit, and that's hard to see, but it also feels good to be able to pull students back up from that and have them say like, oh no, I can write.
That's right.
That's really fulfilling. That's the fulfilling side of that.
With speaking, I say that it rests in fear. A lot of our fellow Eagles are uncomfortable with public speaking, or not even just public speaking, but engaging with others from an interpersonal standpoint, a small group standpoint. So when fear tends to set in, we retreat.
Yeah.
Right? I don't want to polish the skill.
Okay.
Right? I don't want to expose myself to it because I'm uncomfortable. So learning to become comfortable with the uncomfortable. This is bigger than the now.
Okay.
Right? So how do we tap into strategies and best practices to help push us through those challenging moments?
Okay.
Because anxiety, or rather speech anxiety, is a real thing. Communication apprehension is a real thing.
Okay.
Fear is a real thing. So much so it can paralyze you.
Yeah, right? It can.
It can.
You're right.
Can. And so we avoid it. So when I think about our students, fear prevents us.
Okay.
Right? And we get into class and we're like, I don't want to, or when we say we encourage our students to come to the writing and speaking studio, it's a space that I don't want to entertain. I don't want to sharpen the skill because I don't like speaking. I'd rather text you. I'd rather video message you.
Yeah.
I'd rather not do anything that's going to require.
But even texting, and that goes to writing, that translate into, because I do it see myself when I even write these scripts. I see when I write I don't capitalize the I. It's like, or when I write like you, I just write you. It's like it translate. I think it's a generational thing because we're so used. I think that's a COVID thing as well because we're so used to being on our phones or devices. It translates into how we communicate effectively through speech and through writing. So I just my last question is, what should students do to become good writers and good speakers?
You were tapping right there. Oh my God. Practicing.
Yes.
Practice doesn't just make perfect. It makes progress. Progress is more important than perfection.
Absolutely.
That's good.
So I was the same way. I was very much like a very text heavy kind of person, and I would, I was a habitual lowercase person, like lowercase I. I would lowercase the A in my name and all of that. But I started to pay attention to the certain conventions of writing that are, widely accepted, like capitalizing the I, ending with, using punctuation even correctly. I started using that in text messages, and I always kind of thought, like, this person probably thinks I'm a loser. I think I'm a super nerd for using semicolons and a colon and all of that. But I did it, and I started that in undergrad, and now, like, I feel like I have mastered a lot of those rules, a lot of those marks and all of that. So it takes practice, even when you don't think it's really necessary. It helps to get that practice in. Like, even if you're just texting your mom, using the ellipsis, using the semicolon here and there, it's like, oh, okay, I know how to use this now. That's so then you know how to use it later on in life.
And the difference between Miss, Mrs., Mrs. and
That's
Miss.
it.
Yes.
That's another one.
That's
a big one. Yes. But yeah, how should people, students become? What should students do to become good speakers?
Exposure.
Okay.
Try. Put yourself in situations where you have to attempt the skill.
Gotcha.
Give it your best shot. I'm a lover of Don Miguel Ruiz, an author of The Four Agreements. And the fourth agreement is always do your best. That's all I ask, right? That's all that an HBCU is asking for you to simply do your best. And what other setting, right, is going to afford you support? And guidance and encouragement and motivation.
And no judgment.
And no judgment.
Yes.
You can be authentically yourself.
Yes.
Right? Just with the polishing. All you want to do is polish it.
Yeah.
That's it. So when you lean into that and shift your mindset, then you can set yourself up. For progression.
It takes a level of mindfulness, I think, in order to improve, in order to say, I want to get better at insert thing here, right?
I like that.
And it just takes a level of intention. Intention and mindfulness of what you want to do and how you want to succeed at this thing. That allows you to, just to get better.
I like that. And willingness.
Yeah.
Effort.
Effort. We could go on and on, right?
Honestly.
Come on.
Well, before you let you go, where can people contact you and how can people contact you if they want your resources?
Okay, so we are available in the Taylor Education Building. That is right by the Jesus Steps, if you're familiar with it, and right across from the Student Services Building. We are in room 102. That's the annex attached to that building. And if you want to call us, if you want to make an appointment, you can visit us in Taylor Ed, or you can call us. Our number is 919-530-6035, and we will be more than happy to take your appointments that way.
That's right.
And Miss Beverly Mahomes is she's a writing consultant.
She sure is. If you know of Auntie Bev, that is one of our top consultants.
Yes,
absolutely.
And she knows how to write.
She does.
She knows how to write and speak too. She's a great speaker.
That's right.
I'm sorry. Yeah, she's a great speaker. She what's her name? She's part of the NABJ chapter.
Yes.
So I love her. She's been on the show too multiple times. So she's friends to the show. So
shout out
to Bev. And Miss Bev Auntie Bev is gonna get you all the way together too with love.
Yes. Absolutely. And her delivery.
Is loving.
Absolutely.
Yes, most certainly.
Well, thank you guys so much for coming on the show. You guys are welcome back anytime.
Let's go.
Thank you
so much. We'll be right back. It's What's Hot to My Cook. Up next is the hot question of the day.
You're listening to What's Hot on NCCU Audionet.